Welcome to the first episode of Ask Indy, the YouTube show that attempts to tackle some of the issues surrounding the Scottish Independence Referendum. My name is Ian, and this is Paul.
Hello.
Now, the whole point of this show is to hopefully educate and inform people who perhaps haven't decided how they're going to vote in September yet.
I was going to say like me, but that's not true.
Well, no, you were undecided, and so was I. And there are obviously going to be a lot of people out there who are still undecided. And the reason we want to present as much information as possible to undecided people is because this is one of the biggest decisions in modern times, if not the biggest, certainly in our country.
Certainly the biggest vote that I've ever been a part
Absolutely,
of.
it's the most important one because it affects each and every one of us living in this country right now. And it also affects future generations to come. So it definitely merits more than just a cursory, I'm going to vote the same way as my parents, or I'm just going to vote the way my political party tells me to. So before we go any further, I think I should just say that Paul and I are both here to put forward the case for independence, because we are both now fully endorsing the Yes campaign.
If you cannot tell from the signs.
And that was probably made clear by the fact that we had the Crankies and Iron Brew in our introduction video as well.
I think better together people might drink Iron Brew. And
they probably like the Crankies too.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't like it. Funny. They wouldn't like it if the Crankies split up. They would say, "Oh, the Crankies are better together." That was a Fandabby Dozy joke there.
Didn't see that one coming.
I think it's fairly safe to say that both of us have made a bit of a journey before arriving at the decision to vote yes. So, Paul, tell us your story about your journey to discovering yourself in terms of your views on independence.
Okay, this might come as a bit of a surprise. I started off strongly in the no camp. The reason being, it affected me personally, and I was bombarded with all the immigrants are going to come in, they're going to buy up all the houses, it's going to lower house prices. I'm sure you've heard the rhetoric.
There's a lot of scary stuff in the news, yes.
Yeah, there is. And at the time as well, I was very depoliticised at the time. I sort of lost all faith in politics around 2010. And so when I was hearing all this about house prices and stuff, I was just like, no, that's it, immediately. No, we'll just keep things as they are and I'll be fine. I'm coasting, I'm getting by all right at the moment. And as things were going on, I heard this allegory that was made again by the no camp that was all about the white paper being a pretty poor proposal for buying a house. Mm. And it resonated with me, again because the house thing was quite important in my life and what was going on with me at the time. I liked it and I kind of stuck with that, and I was talking about it with people I work with and some friends, and whenever I was asked to sort of assert my position, I would always say, no, white paper is just a bad house proposal, essentially.
So you were just repeating what you heard in the news?
Yeah, and actually, ashamedly, I have to admit, I still haven't fully read the white paper.
Nice.
So,
well, it's quite long, isn't it? It's about 600 pages.
And it is a bit dry. Like, who's got time for that? Do you?
No. No, I had to read the Code Gatherers this week, so no, I'm afraid I didn't have time to read the white paper as well. Okay.
So, I was talking to a friend of mine who was pretty firmly in the yes camp. It might have actually been yourself, I can't remember now. And I was relaying this allegory about the house price, about the house proposal, sorry. And what he turned around and said was, well, yeah, that might be a fair enough argument, but you're renting that house at the moment. It's not like, it's not like you're just moving into this new house. And what he was basically saying as well was, like renting a house, the landlord benefits. Mm-hmm. We're not benefiting. We're paying the rent and seeing none of that back. And I didn't really have an argument for that. I know this sounds like really quite simple, but hey, I'm a simple guy.
Nice.
So it was then I started to think, well, what's so good about the status quo? And I started to look into things myself. So that covers me up until basically I had a bit of a change of heart. Mm. And it was around that time that I started to come across people who were very, very positive, not just about protecting the status quo, but about progressing the country that lived in, progressing the society, the communities that they were living in. And it struck a political chord with me that has been dead pretty much since we've seen David Cameron walking into Buckingham Palace. and we've had 5 years of
Well,
austerity cuts.
I think a lot of people, especially in Scotland, have felt politically disengaged, and I think that's part of the problem. Is that, you know, we saw David Cameron taking power. I remember Margaret Thatcher in the 80s having power, and people in Scotland will be thinking, well, we didn't vote for that.
Yeah.
So what's the point of being bothered? Because whatever we say doesn't really matter. So I think this whole independence referendum has suddenly given people a voice. It's given people something to be passionate about, and I think that's a good thing. Anyway, as you were.
Well, actually, just on that, I remember back when people were marching in the streets, protesting against wars, protesting for gay rights and things like that. And I remember a distinct feeling after that time, particularly after the Iraq War, people just did not feel engaged politically at all. In fact, they felt ignored.
Absolutely.
And I think this independence referendum, like from the no side to the yes side, one thing I have to say about the whole thing is it's engaging again.
Well, it's
I feel like I can make a difference.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
We're sitting doing
this is why we're doing this, obviously, is to try and make a difference. But I think people are now conversing, whether it be in person, whether it be amongst family or friends, online. People are now talking about politics.
And fighting.
And fighting with people about politics.
in soft ways.
To be honest, that's a good thing, because it shows passion. Because I don't think I felt that passionate since I was a teenager, when I used to have arguments with people. You know, I people in my year at school who didn't agree with me politically, and I used to argue with them. And I've not really had that for about 10 years or so. So it's nice. I like it that people now feel politically motivated. Anyway, you were saying.
So a lot of these things that I was hearing were really, really striking a strong chord with me, and there's a lot of left-wing speakers, and I'll just declare now, my politics have always been quite left-wing, if not to the point of social anarchism and things like that. That potentially could alienate a few people. He's an anarchist! Twat. Oh, I swore again.
We can edit that out.
Yeah, cool.
It's fine.
So the type of
you're
things
only saying what everyone's thinking. It's watching this. I agree with him. He is a twat. I like what he says. Cool. He makes a good point about his twattishness.
He does. So I was doing my own research. I was starting to genuinely look at what the people from the Yes Camp were saying. And I always found it to be a very positive message. There was people who were talking about the change and progression that is possible within an independent Scotland. And one of the first things that started to come up quite frequently was how many people in Scotland at this current point in time, it's the same in the UK, but Scotland specifically because it is a Scottish referendum, how many people in Scotland are using food banks? That in a developed country is an absolute disgrace.
Kind of worrying, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that we have them at all, but the fact that there are so many people using them is really, really grim.
Yeah. And a lot of the promoters of the Yes campaign have tackled this issue, and every single one of them is saying the exact same thing. In an independent Scotland, we'll put people first. It's people before profits, before business. And I like this. I mean, it strikes a chord with me. The committing to the nuclear disarmament as well. Yeah. That came up loads. I like it. I mean,
I don't think many people could disagree with that. I mean, I think most people, even a lot of Better Together people, would. I don't know how you could really argue against that you know, scrapping Trident, because A, it's borderline illegal and immoral the way the Trident missiles work, and B, it's so expensive. I mean, they're talking about renewing it and how it's going to cost billions of pounds, and you think, if we scrap that, that's billions and billions of pounds to spend on public spending, spend schools and police and things like that, things that people actually need, and to try and improve the standard of living of people in Scotland so that they're not having to rely on food banks.
I think it was the Green Party, the Scottish Socialist Party, that produced something that has said, if we cut this, what we could directly spend that money on is X amount of hospitals, X amount of nurses, schools, teachers, all these things that really benefit people. And I mean, I quite liked a statement that I heard about the whole nuclear weapons, that it is literally just a very expensive scrap metal because you can't use it. And as you pointed out, it's immoral,
it contravenes many kind of... Well, it's the fact that the Trident missiles are indiscriminate. If you fire one, you cannot prevent it from causing collateral damage, and that in itself is just immoral and horrible. It's
horrible, the fallout as well.
Horrible thing.
It's not just the immediate explosion of the weapon. I mean, there's nuclear fallout as well, which causes radiation sickness, cancers, and all these things. And that I don't want to be part of a country that says, you know what, this is okay. In fact, we're going to use this as a deterrent. I was reading something the other day as well that was saying the UK actively sort of bullies other countries into signing nuclear disarmament treaties, but excludes themselves from that. I've got a problem with that. If you can't live up to the standards that you promote, then... So I don't like that, and I like the fact that, again, the majority of the promoters of the Yes campaign are saying, no, Trident's been here long enough, let's get rid of them. That's not to say that I'm, anti-military. I think it's a good thing to have a military power. One, it's an employer. Two, I mean, there are reasons to have it. I don't think we really need to list them.
Why be specific? in a podcast in a show that hopefully in a show that hopes to inform and educate people, why would you want to give them information? Yeah. So, the defensive capabilities are... Capabilities is not an appropriate word there. No, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. Yeah, so pretty much that's why I found myself in the Yes campaign, and I've continued to read and I've continued to watch videos, speeches, and I get really, really excited about what I hear. What about you?
Well, for me, it started very much as a political thing, and nothing else. That's all it was a political thing. My family and I have always aligned ourselves with the Labour Party, and the official Labour Party line, the dogma, if you will, has always been to vote no. And I think I was initially just blindly going along, with what they were saying. I was just thinking to myself, yeah, I'll just do what they want, that's fine, I'll just go along with that. But I mean, I'll be honest, it never sat right with me. It just, something didn't feel right from the beginning. So, I mean, at the start, I was going to vote no. I wouldn't say, you sound like you were more definite no.
I was just very firm.
In my head, because of my political allegiances, I was going to vote no. And then I had this wonderful moment of epiphany a few months back when I was walking through West Kilbride, which is the lovely town in which we both live. I was out and about, and I decided to go to the Spar for some milk. And as I was approaching the Spar, I noticed a large group of people standing outside, and I recognised them as being the local Conservatives.
Pigeons?
Now, no, they were wearing clothes, so I knew they weren't pigeons. So they were the local Conservatives, because I know quite a lot of them from my political times, because I used to stand outside polling stations with my Labour rosette, and you come to know who's Tory, who's Lib Dem, who's SNP. These were all the Conservatives, right? And this was only a few weeks before the European election. So I figured they were just out and about campaigning on behalf of the local Tory hopeful, whoever that was.
Yeah.
And, what happened was then, as I was trying to sneak into the Spar without being spotted, one of the guys gave me a leaflet.
And so did he recognise you?
No, he just gave me a leaflet.
Right, okay.
And to my surprise, it wasn't a Tory leaflet, it was a Better Together leaflet. So I realised...
In the run-up to the European elections?
This was before the European elections. The Tories...
That kind of shows how much that meant to them.
Well, it does.
Sorry.
They were standing outside at the Spar campaigning for Better Together. Not for the Tory party, for Better Together. So I realised that they were campaigning for Better Together. And it was just the Tories. No Labour, no Lib Dem, just Tories.